This market, it's run so much and there's not many great names trading at inexpensive valuations now that it's almost like you're dumpster diving if you chase a lot of these. So if we spot anything great, yeah, I'd love to pile in, but I just don't see much. What happens to Michael Burry? So he is now saying we are near a major top for AI chips.
CrowdStrike's up 100% on it, 99.2% to be specific.
It is now 30. I just had to check. It's 37.74% of my portfolio. And I originally, when I bought this, it was like a 6% position. So that's just its growth.
If I trade the small bios or I have to size risk like they're going to go to zero because I feel like if they miss something, I've gotten caught in a couple just obliteration.
Cause we pop them like overridden vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire. I'm a young money millionaire.
Let's go, boys. We are back and we will definitely touch on your trips. But before we do, Michael Burry says we are near a major top. 27% of Nvidia sold short. CPI drops tomorrow. Earnings for Nebius drop on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about Meta and a whole lot more here. Meta, you woke me up, Joey, and you said Meta is ripping pre-market. It looks like it came back down a little bit. I do want to touch on that, though, because I think one of the more underrated pieces of this, and maybe I'm a big Telegram user because I'm a Bitcoiner, but no more Telegram users. I guess if you have Telegram now, you can still use it, but they do not allow, it's not in the App Store anymore. Which made me think here for Meta, they own WhatsApp. Maybe all these new users are going to have to be forced to go to WhatsApp, and they're starting to monetize that. So.
Is the Telegram CEO and founder, is he the dude that's like crazy jacked, or is that Signal?
Yeah, he's crazy jacked, and the feds are after him. So I don't know exactly.
I mean, you run an app that prevents them from doing their jobs. Of course, they're going to hate you.
Yeah, well, Signal's probably more exclusive. I know government individuals, as we saw, were on Signal when they invited the Atlantic CEO in by accident. That was a pretty big fuck up on their part. But yeah, I mean, beyond that, I mean, do you think that's a good thesis? That I mean,
well, it was
over.
Weird because like I was checking pre-market and like my portfolio was doing nothing. And then out of nowhere, Meta started ripping. So I was like, oh, it must be something going on. And before I even had time to look into it, like you said, it's tapered off now. It's only at 0.4%. My portfolio is completely driven by CrowdStrike today, just because it's such a large position. And man, cybersecurity, which Nick touched on, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Wow. And like one thing I was telling you guys was Zscaler at like 137, 138. Now it's already 172. Like all of cyber is just absolutely ripping. Cloudflare earnings help that. But I mean,
CrowdStrike's up 100% on the 99.2% to be specific.
It is now 30. I just had to check. It's 37.74% of my portfolio. And I originally, when I bought this, it was like a 6% position. So that's just its growth has gotten to where it is now. Like it is just huge.
Because you're one of the more conservative traders, I'd say, in terms of keeping it simple. You don't like to get cute when all these people on FinTwitter are talking about these new stocks, Nebius included. What do you do when something gets overweighted like that? Do you just no longer add to it, or do you trim it to make it?
I have not added to it since 90. I think it was like 99, 98, something along those. I was buying in the 40s. And then the 90s, so the cost base is like 61 and change.
Damn, you beat me. I was at 62, I think it was my entry.
But so yeah, I would not buy it here because this valuation is kind of wild. So we got it at 34.4 times next 12 months revenues, 164 times earnings. Now these are valuations it could grow into over time. Like this is still a growth machine, and we've got free cash flow margins at 26%. For this, or that's actual 2026 is going to 30% this year. So the whole thing about this was, as AI rolled out to all these enterprises, a lot of cybersecurity stocks originally sold off because it's like, oh, we won't need these anymore. But we were on the other side, like, no, this is going to be more important than ever as everybody's loading Claude and GPT and all this on their company devices. Like that's CrowdStrike's sweet spot. Like they're going to cover all the different endpoints that you've got, add all the different upsells to it. And you see Cloudflare is kind of benefiting from the same trend. Now, this is one I don't plan on trimming. I mean, I'd get torched on taxes if I tried. But I still think, cybersecurity is just going to be more and more important as AI gets bigger and bigger. I mean, we're still in like the early innings of AI. So I feel like CrowdStrike, Cloudflare, Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler will be the big winners. And of course, you're going to have a bunch of other players like Okta and the catch-up trades that you have across. Even Atlassian, we saw them catch a bid and jump 35% last week. So certain software stocks are coming back, but I think cybersecurity is still just a great spot.
JFDI, what's on your screen right now? What are you looking at?
RBRK.
RBRK. Let's pull that up. You got your
yeah, I'm a little salty. I kind of butchered the trade.
You want to pull up your screen if you can?
Yeah, totally.
That thing's ripped straight from 48 to 97. And it had its hiccup. It hit 60, came back down to the low 50s, and then just straight back.
I think you got to add. I'm sharing, but you got to add it.
Oh, my bad. My one job.
I'm not in it. I'm not in it right now. I was not paying attention and just kind of fat fingered some wrong keys. But I think if I would agree with Joey in terms of crowd. And just looking at it, sorry, I meant to pull up the daily. Just kind of based on this range right here, you've got about a 40-50 point move in the near term. So like you're kind of pushing up there towards 250. Whereas like if you were trying, I think you could play CrowdStrike here in terms of a Momo trade, but I think RBRK, if you're looking for another cybersecurity play that's just getting started, I think RBRK is where you're at. If you're looking at the weekly, we're just basically, I would consider this more of your IPO base than this, but I mean, some might disagree with me. You're not even.
I would say if you're itching for a cyber trade and you don't want to pay up for a CrowdStrike, CrowdStrike or Cloudflare, or Zscaler.
Yeah,
is the one when you're looking at the valuation.
Yeah,
it's still. I mean, this thing's still down over 20% year to date, which of course, the loser is never always the way to go. But when I'm looking at the actual valuation on this thing, you've got it at 6.8 times next 12 months revenues, 38 times next 12 months earnings. Like it's trading at a fraction of the valuation of Cloudflare and CrowdStrike, and it's still in growth.
You're basically, yeah, you're at the low end of the base too. I mean, you're pushing up towards mid-range, but I mean, you could easily risk versus 185 or kind of you get any kind of weakness probably above 150, and you could probably throw a stab at it. I think above this 190 pivot though, yeah, you're talking about a push back to the high end of the range, and then from there, 115 to 300, you got a 200 point range that's putting the price at like $500.
I want to take a look. Here's our earnings whisperer. We got to create our own here, but anything you guys are eyeing, obviously I'm eyeing here on the 12th. Nebius, we get a little preview here with CoreWeave, but anything you guys are thinking is going to absolutely blow it out, anyone's going to be a disappointment. I'm curious with OnCloud. On was a super hot one. I've personally, this is just me personally moving over to Brooks. But I feel
I just
that it's
don't like
come down a little bit.
Shoes. I'm a Hoka dude. Like, I went to Fleet Feet. They did like the foot scan to see what fits best, and it was like Hoka, and then it was Brooks, and then it was something else. Then it was On. Yeah, they just didn't. I didn't like them all that much, but the growth's still there. Very interesting week. You got a lot of like the cult names between Rocket Lab, AST, HIMS. Throwback to
it's a big night. Tonight you've got Rocket Labs, ASTS, you got Archer. For pretty much anybody anybody in the shitco space, Momo names. It's tonight's a kind of a kickoff night. When is HIMS? I didn't even realize
HIMS is tonight.
Oh, HIMS is tonight too. Shit. Okay.
And the problem with HIMS is like they always have great numbers, whether it's good or bad. The stock tends to fall. Yeah. So
they're like Snapchat. Snapchat always dies on earnings, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't.
But yeah, Hims,
I
that's
don't even
just
pay
a
attention.
great company, great platform.
Cisco's a Trump name. You think
You are a Hims fan, Joy?
Yeah, I just think it's a great platform.
Sure.
And I could see where, all these people want instant access to, I mean, you see like the trends across social with tadalafil, people using that as like pre-workout now. Any of the peptides, any of the GLPs, people are just, in general, they're very lazy. They don't want to go to a doctor, go to their primary care physician, go through the whole process. You can just do a quick, like download the app, go through a couple steps, and it's on its way. That's what people are going to do. And they'll probably pay more to do it. And I think Hims is in this spot of doing that.
You're hitting your mic, I think, a little bit, by the way. I was just checking out. C Limited was an old name that we used to trade. That thing started to crawl back up and then came back down here.
Yeah, it's still looking good. I mean, if you look at what they're doing, I mean, the gaming unit that was always feeding everything else now, whether it's Shopee is still performing quite well. I mean, they're going to do 31% top line growth, 15% free cash flow margins. Earnings will grow 22%. Like the stock's not expensive.
Yeah, look at this thing. Remember 2020? That was so fun,
dude. That was such a fun run because
2021 came all the way back.
I remember when it was kind of like MicroStrategy back then. I was like, this is going to go back to the 30s, and sure enough, I think I said that when it was at like 250, and then sure enough, it went back, touched the 30s because you like always look back at the previous lows between the meltdowns. But this thing, it's trading at 27.6 times forward earnings, 2 times revenue. I just prefer Mercado Libre, but C Limited, I mean, it doesn't look like you can go too wrong with that.
Pull your chart.
But I still like Amazon best of all in that whole space.
Yeah, we went through that with Caleb. We're going to continue that tomorrow on Amazon, just digging into all their different business lines because it's my number one stock, and I've been lazy with it, to be honest. And I've just been like, all right, Amazon does this thing. I don't need to like research them anymore. But it was fun to say, like, you got to know what you own, right? And so it was like that time I was like, all right, I need to fucking see what's going on with Amazon.
Well, that's when, when we were talking about, trim here, where are you going to put that cash? Amazon's always a good spot because, they've got 5 different verticals that are like top 5 units worldwide. And just to see how they could turn an expense into a revenue category. You see like the death across advertising. Now they're the number 3 advertiser between Google and Meta. It's incredible what they're doing over there.
There's Zeus that we were talking about. Zooks, I think it is called.
Yeah, Zooks for the robotaxi.
Like
yeah.
So the big play there, I was saying, is advertising. Getting people in the back of those. You're going to have your login. They're going to know what you're into. They can then serve exactly the ads that I think would be specific for you. So I think that's the play for Waymo too, probably.
Well, just like if you're watching a show on Amazon Prime and you bring up the Amazon app, it'll say shop the show and it'll have all the merch and stuff on there. And of course, anytime we're watching a show on Amazon, because like we just started another series that's on Prime Video, sure enough, every commercial that pops up is like one of my recent searches. And it's, here's this. And I'm like, oh God, this, you can see they got you in their little funnel.
What's scarier is you're having a conversation with your wife at your home, but those things are constantly listening too.
Luckily, my Alexa is stuck in French. So I don't think she understands anything I'm saying. My 6-year-old turned it to French/English, and we can't. For the
now she's fluent. Now she's fluent in French. So that's nice little.
Until you set a timer, like set a pizza timer, and she doesn't set it, and you're like, oh crap.
What are you guys thinking here for CPI for tomorrow? CPI is gonna come out.
Couldn't tell you.
All the numbers are fake, anyways. Who cares?
Yeah, it's gonna be coming Tuesday morning.
I mean, just based on the. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say whatever is expected. It's not gonna be. It's gonna do whatever it's gonna support. No rate hike.
Yeah, I agree there.
What happens to Michael Burry? So he is now saying we are near a major top for AI chips. He gets headlines all the time. He had one really good call.
Listen, that man's Substack, he's making what, like $100 million a year off his Substack. I don't care anything he has to say about anything, but friggin' my hat is off to you, dude. You're making a killing. You may as well keep being like the negative Nancy that you are because you're getting paid to do so. So I'm sure at some point you will be right again. It hasn't happened in a very long time, but you're going to bank in the meantime. So, man, hats off.
What was the other one? Oh, that was the sell-off. I wonder if that SpaceX. So I know they had an unlock on the 6th. And was that the reason for the major sell-off? Because the earnings call was kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys paid attention to that at all.
I didn't know.
No, I heard it was pretty wild, but the other thing I read
was like
is
cinematic. It was pretty cool.
Sell off in anticipation of the lockup, but as soon as it happened, the stock, it seems like that was its bottom. I think it got to like 104.80 something or 104.50 something. Someone on Stocks was posted that the bottom was 108 and that came out, but like, yeah, it's a near-term bounce. Like, could that have been the bottom? Yeah. Is it still expensive? Yes. But the quarter is pretty good, showing that 92% revenue growth. So, I mean, it's a monster of stock.
There's another, when's the next one? The next lockup?
Next lockup?
There's a lot of them. If you search like SpaceX lockup calendar,
pull it up.
There's a bunch all through 2027. Yeah, through mid.
But theirs is unique too, I think, in the fact that like they're one of the first companies that the janitors got stock, you know, and so
yeah,
some of these folks are sitting on.
So there's 7% tranches from August 20th, September 9th, September 24th, October 9th, October 24th, all 7%. November 2026 event-based release, it says about 28%. December 8th, 2026, full expiration of standard 180-day lockup. June 12th, which is including Elon's stake, but I don't think Elon's going to be selling. So
here's the cool GIF. Whoever posted this, I'll give them a shout out.
The thing I think of is like this is a cult stock because it falls within Tesla and everything else. So yeah, as shares unlock, I'm sure some of these people are going to want to cash in, buy their yachts, buy their mansions, buy their Lambos or whatever. But they're not going to be selling everything.
No.
So yes, a lot of shares are unlocked, but like a lot of these people are there because they believe in Elon's vision and they want to be there for the long term. And if he says it's going to be worth 10 trillion, why would they sell at 1.8 trillion?
Mm-hmm. Wow. All right. So I was digging more into the meta to kind of call back that. So India also had a Telegram ban. I didn't realize this in June. So that was a huge rush. So you can kind of see, actually, they had a huge rush to WhatsApp and Signal. They have 3 billion global users today, WhatsApp, and crossed 100 million monthly users in the US. So people are migrating over. And I know they're starting to monetize that. Meta's, I feel like they've been beaten up quite a bit, but do you think you still loving Meta?
Yeah. This stock's still way too cheap. The core business growing so fast. I like that, the AI unit was hemorrhaging cash, but to find a way to pivot and make it something that could actually generate cash and instantly be a very large player in the cloud space. Like, I like that he could turn a miss into some sort of revenue generating unit. But yeah, I'm looking at the valuation. It's 5.5 times forward sales, 18.5 times forward earnings. This, like, you're risking, you might have 10% downside and the thing could double. So I just like to look at where the company's going. You look at the top line, the bottom line, everything's going in the right direction. So everything else I just consider noise. And this is still, I think it's my second largest position, or actually might be third behind CrowdStrike and Reddit. But
Pull
yeah,
up,
I'm interested in selling.
Nebius, Nick, if you could.
Yeah.
So I've been talking about them nonstop, right? And few catalysts. I think they have 100% options IV. So the market's expecting a massive move. Goldman raised their 2030 revenue model from 22 billion to 35 billion, EBITDA from 17.7 to 29 billion. So two big dates coming up, obviously Wednesday, then Vineland, which is their new their new site is on August 17th. So that's like the execution. Can they actually execute on all of this? And then the 25th is a big date too, because they can vote. They're voting on doing more shares. So it's like 44 million shares. So the way I'm playing this, I think they absolutely rock it during earnings, and then I may trim some and wait for it to come back down because I think they're going to do a share offering right after that. Hopefully this is a clip. I'm right on this, but what is the chart looking like? I know before earnings, it could change direction real quick, but
technically, this is a weekly chart, so each candle is representing a week. You've got a lot of tight closes here. You got 4 of them, a lot of tight closes here and a lot of tight closes here. It's sitting on, every long-term trend, whether you're O'Neill or Weinstein style trader, was probably adding or legging or entering kind of versus the 30-week here. Anytime you see 3+ consecutive tight weekly closes, it's more or less like it's an institutional footprint. So just showing where they're kind of pushing price around. I think it just looking at the chart, you can easily risk against 140, 142. If it kind of loses that floor, I'd probably be in the camp that it's going to gravitate back towards like this kind of range, which, this is the long-term, this is a 200-week moving average. There's just a big, again, a big air pocket right here. Not saying I necessarily think that's going to happen. I'd probably be more inclined to agree with you where I think they kind of bounce it and push it back towards highs. I don't have any like insight in terms of offering, but just based on the bounce it had from this retest and then price goes tight, I'd be leaning again towards that. Or if they gap it down for whatever reason, I'd be a buyer versus 150 or against this low and just kind of, again, you're risking like, 20 points to make 150.
See, Avi, it all comes back to the 150.
Yeah. Like the reason on my weekly charts, I stick to bar charts that are just the high-low close or just the high-low close. Because the tight closes is really what I'm looking for in terms of like the weekly chart. So yeah, the trend's obviously up. It's continually putting in higher lows. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to be watching the Vineland situation. The 25th, I don't think is talked about enough either, but I do think they popped to, let's put a number on it. Non-investment.
Well, all you need is like something good to come out of Iran, and like you need positive vibes in the market for the vibe trades to keep working. Because this is totally nothing fundamental about Nebius. And that was like the whole reason we entered the trade, and we're trimming the trade in the 200s up to 300, whatever it was. It was a vibe trade. Vibes sour, you got to cut the vibe trades. Like this thing's trading at 45 times 2029 earnings, and it's not going to turn a profit. But like there's no fundamental way to value this other than, hey, this is a growth machine. This could be pretty massive 10 years from now. So like I've treated it as such. Of course, there's going to be the people that think they're the bottleneck expert and the hyperscaler neo cloud certified experts. That's fun. I don't pretend to know things that I don't. It was a vibe trade that, we kind of nailed the whole way. Now it's, let's see what happens. Yeah.
The way they're funding it is pretty interesting though. So they get like 45% of the money up front from all these guys now. And yeah. So I mean, I think the financing they're doing is pretty smart, but I could see it come. Yeah, I think it rips on earnings, and then I think it could come down right after.
I've just always got to keep in my head it was a trade. I have to treat it as a trade. It's kind of like the old saying, "Never fall in love with a stripper." Like this was what it was, and I can't treat it differently unless I like completely exit the trade and I re-enter for another reason. It's just my brain doesn't see neo clouds the same as a hyperscaler. And because I have such heavy positions in Amazon, Google, Meta, like, do I need this when this is kind of like an instrument of my other thing?
I think it's the same idea behind, guys rotating, taking trades where they can and rotating that capital into like, whether it's the Qs, the VUG or, you know, whatever kind of, yeah. I mean, you could
Yeah,
play the
and
cues or
that's
play
how
the
I always
individual
love
mag.
to
And
do
just,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, use the big trades, chalk up your wins, have your plan, stick to it, rotate it into the hyperscalers, the VUs, and then yeah, if this thing runs to 800, I'll be like, oh crap, I sold that here, but I stuck to my plan. And if that runs to 800, chances are VU and the hyperscalers, you know, run
mean,
their
Yeah, you're good.
collective worth. I'm never one that kind of looks back like, oh crap, I own this here, I suck. It's kind of like,
yeah,
hey,
no.
I had a plan, I stuck to it, I did good, I won. And now I can just make Avi freak out about his position by saying, well, what if it misses?
I'm
What if it goes
scrolling
here?
Twitter right now, dude.
But that's
I
the
mean,
other
you can
thing
always
that I
buy it
told you
back.
is never listen to someone that doesn't have a position. So
Yeah.
like you could ask me all day about Nebius. I'm going to say, hey, it could go here, but hey, chances are it goes here. I don't have a position anymore to where you got to take that with a grain of salt. Now, if I had a short position, of course, I'm going to take the other side. If I was also long, I'd be cheerleading right with you. So you just got to form your own opinion. And it seems like you freaking love this company. So yeah, it's going to 400.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean,
Let's
that
stop
being
there.
said, like if it's going to 800, the amount of opportunities that you're going to have to re-enter are
Exactly.
unlimited.
Yeah.
Whether, like, you know, once a trend is underway, unless you're an absolute doomer and thinking the thing is going to completely round trip or revert, you're going to have opportunities to either buy on weakness or buy on strength, whatever your, you know, whatever your, you know, your play
Exactly
is.
as we were talking on Amazon at like 200 that we said, yeah, this is going to 400. People, I got a text the other day like, oh, did I miss Amazon because it's 278? I'm like, no, I think it's going to 400. You missed the first 30, 40%, but do you want to miss the next 30 or 40% just because you missed like, you didn't miss anything. It's still cheap.
Yeah, I was pulling up
Or
this
like,
tweet here.
that's kind of how I'm looking at Zscaler right now because, you know, I loved it in the
Oh, yeah.
130s. I was going to buy it. It's still very cheap at 176.87. So I'm like, I'm going to do more research right after this. I might be buying it just because I want a little more cyber exposure. And
I
they're
don't
just
remember if you had asked me, but if you're looking at Zscaler, you know, again, kind of back to that 3-week tight idea, you know, you got a lot of 3-week tight opportunities and kind of footprints there at the bottom of the base. You know, you had one here. Obviously, this kind of failed as, you know, you got this sucker, but you get a nasty candle like this, and then it goes tight again without fall. So here's the thing: like the trend is up on on more or less every time frame, especially when you're referring referring to the indices. When the trend is up, there's not a reason, in my opinion, to be looking for bear flag setups. But I guarantee you that short-term bears were looking at this as a bear flag, and I certainly would not have been in that camp. You had this nasty sell-off candle, price went tight and could not push this thing lower, and then you got this pop. Like I don't remember if you were asking me or talking to me about this when you were talking about the 130s, but just looking at it now, you know, again, another 3-week tight here, price went tight here, and again, you're pushing. So this is kind of an easy when we brought it up earlier, this is an easy candle to play against, and it's going to be right in alignment with this long-term moving average, or both of these kind of converging here. When I say like price starts to move, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to either add or leg in. Dude, these long-term moving averages, like think how much power and energy it's going to take to get these things to flatline and start to curl back up, right? Like, yeah, it could just completely rip. I don't, just looking at it now, I don't see why it would do that. Like, I think you're going to be given multiple opportunities. It might, you know, trade up here, gap down, you know, stair step leg, or, you know, however it plays out. It's just,
I just had to pull up our group text on July 14th. I asked you about, and you said huge fucking base. So
yeah, that sounds like something
and
I
that
would
was
say.
at 141-ish. So yeah, a little 25% move. So yeah, exactly as you said, you didn't see that as a bear flag. You saw it as the base.
Like, for anybody that is a trend trader, these bases are what we want to see, because, you know, the motto that the bigger the base or the longer the base, higher in space, whatever that saying is, like, this is energy building, you know. Yeah, it could fail. And then, you know, so what? You move on to the next one. I'm not necessarily one that is going to be accumulating within a base. It's just not my style. I don't want capital tied up in. Yeah, there's a trade here, definitely versus the low end of the base, but I'm not necessarily one to be taking those types of trades. And if I was, it would be kind of a hit and run until we ultimately kind of take out highs and start to run. Because like we said earlier, you've got a 200-point range here. You've got a 200-point run to highs, but just based on the width of this range, I've already got a price target at 500. So by the time this thing hits 300, I'm perfectly comfortable pounding the table for the next 200 points.
There it is, pounding the table, bringing it back.
I kind of live by the motto, I love the saying, it's like squeezing quarters out of nickels, right? Like, so kind of what that means is, like, once price starts trending, like, let's say price runs, you know, let's just say it goes from 330 to 450. You know, you got a 100-point run there. How many times can you leg and add into that thing to make that 100-point run like really fucking worth it for you? That's just kind of my thought behind trading and kind of trading trends in particular. I think these ranges and the ranges and the bases, I think, are the easiest to play. I think the horizontal trend lines outweigh, you know, diagonal trend lines all day, every day. So, you know, my 2 cents.
Yeah. What is going on with the trade desk? Is that going to zero? Pulling up here. Let me pull up. So I was pulling up, giving some love to stock twits for Joey here. Trending stocks right now. Cohere was one that someone had mentioned previously, but trade desk is just getting demolished over and over.
Always
again.
trending, but never for a good reason.
What's going on with them though? Like, they used to be such a good company. I thought Jeff Green is the CEO.
Yeah, Jeff Green, he loaded up like $180 million at 28, and everybody thought that was it. And now he's down 40% on that. I mean, now this is where fundamentals don't matter. You've got a 2x sales, 8 times, or 14 times earnings. The problem is it's just one of the most hated stocks ever. So you could have made a case to buy it at 49, 39, 29, 19. Here it is at 13. Like, yes, you could try to say it's going to get acquired, or like if out of nowhere they come out with some huge beat and raised quarter, this thing could, you know, go up 100% in one day. But like, I don't know. And how long could you be sitting on nothing, or could it fall? I never thought this could get cut in half again, and sure enough, it has. So this is one. I mean, at one point from the IPO, it was up 4,400% in its public career. It is now up just 371% in its public career. So just one of the ultimate beatdowns, from 139 to 91% drawdown to today.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And this, yeah, like you said, this used to be like the ad tech play. And then AppLovin came, and then some other players kind of entered the market. But yeah, it's been a pretty wild one to watch. And I'm always tempted to trade it. I have traded a couple times on the way down. One time I made money, like 4 times I lost, but never lost as much as I made during like the 3 other times I was long the stock. So now I'm just kind of like, all right, I'll watch from the sidelines.
How about my big Iova? I've been talking about them for a bit, but Iova ripped 40% on earnings, and they have 9 catalysts coming up right now, and so it's a biotech. Definitely don't buy if you have any fear. But he said the CEO was talking about how the lung data is looking better than the melanoma data. And this thing could be an absolute rocket. I think they get acquired if the data, I think it's coming out at the end of this month on lung. But if that lung data comes out, pull the chart up on that if you can. Here, let me add it to the stage. Yeah, so it absolutely like ripped. You can see it just goes chops quite a bit. But They have 9 different catalysts coming up that I think are interesting, and the CEO is extremely bullish. Granted, that's what they should be doing, but it is one that I think could be acquired. I initially found it because from Merck, they have a cancer drug that comes off, and anyone can. I think similar to like Viagra, after like 10 years, I think the drug comes off, right? And anyone can kind of make what is it called of those synthetics of it?
The generics.
Yeah, generics. There you go. But Iova is an interesting one that I'm up like 250% on it since I entered. But this thing, my dad's friend actually told me about this, and it's been absolutely ripping since. And he thinks it's going to $80. I think he's crazy on that. But
are you in the equity, the straight up equity, or are you?
Yeah, I'm on equities.
I remember you texting me about this at like $2.
Yeah, now it's at 6 something. Let me pull up my.
I mean, I'm looking at the ticker projections. I mean, if they do what people think they could do, I mean, this gets to doing 1.3 billion in revenue 2030, and be pretty profitable at that point. Shit, free cash flow margin is expected to get over 30%.
I'm not a big enough brain. If I trade, the small bios are kind of, I have to size risk like they're going to go to 0. Because I feel like if they miss something, like I've gotten caught in a couple just obliterations, and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Also to kind of, plug Stock Twits and Joey, MBG, like the Monkey Banana Genius and Duzio are the 2 dudes that, like, when it comes to these small bios, they're like a crazy, awesome resource on there. They're kind of 2 dudes that I kind of lean into, like they love trading this kind of shit. So if you're on there and you pop on there,
yeah, they're good dudes too.
Give them a shout out. Duzio loves to speak in riddles, and if you can just kind of not get caught up in like what he's trying to say and kind of read between the lines a little bit, or just pulling the tickers apart from what he's saying, like it's freaking awesome. Yeah, I love those 2.
Yeah, bio is tough. I mean, I had to use AI to dig into this a little bit further, but here's kind of their pipeline. I wrote this tweet, did pretty well. But 2025, so in about 3 months, I think it's actually sooner. I think it's towards the end of August. Their lung data comes out, which is going to be massive. If that does well, this thing could spike up like another 100%, I think, honestly. And then they have a few other ones that are coming, sarcoma. The issue here is their CEO did an ATM last time they were pumping pretty hard. So always a fear, that could happen again. But this is one that's in my IRA, and I'm just holding it.
When you see, I've got the monthly up. Typically when you're looking at these patterns, the measured move on a lot of these patterns is where the move originated from. So, if you're trading this, you could probably look at $17, this 13 to 17 kind of zone as probably initial pivot if this thing busts out. But like you said, one of the catalyst hits, this thing could go absolutely berserk. On a longer term, you definitely probably your buddy that's got a kind of a target back at 80. I'd probably argue closer to 50, 55 if I had to like put a number on it, but that's again just based on the chart and the pattern. Yeah, just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I could see some chop happening, but this is one again. They're known for their melanoma. Check out what's their REPL.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You see these guys?
Yeah.
So these guys rocketed. But if you actually went on Stock Twits quite a bit here, and a lot of people are calling them. They basically like paid off people to.
They were trending like last week, almost every day.
Oh.
So that's a potential competitor for them. But bio is crazy. I keep it to like 1, or like Eli Lilly obviously is pharma, but that one's another one that I love. Go to Lilly's chart real quick, see what they're doing. They're just a beast. I remember, God damn. That is crazy.
Yeah, Eli Lilly and Eli Lilly and Amgen are probably the two that I look at as kind of like, Eli Lilly, Amgen, probably VRTX, and like Regeneron are probably the big swinging dick monsters in the space.
We've talked about Retta, but Retatrutide, Joey, is that how you say it?
Retatrutide.
Retatrutide.
Which one?
Say that fat. No, that's their drug that's coming out. That's triple agnostic and agnostic. I can't speak. But I read about it on Twitter. But what's cool about this is it's like not only weight loss, the fatty liver goes down like 90%. And I think 1 in 5 people have fatty liver. And then pre-diabetes too, it's helping with. And I've just been reading, like, I don't know, these are Twitter doctors, so they could be heavily invested in this thing, right? But they're saying they're just like, they're seeing their patients just, they had fatty liver, pre-diabetic. This thing.
Retta's what that Huberman said is going to be $1 trillion drug, which everything I've seen, it looks legit. So plus the way you can maintain muscle mass while shedding the fat, that it just seems like a cheat code. It almost seems fake.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens to these people in like 10 years from now, right? But
I think
there's like stomach issues, but
the argument I've seen on the plus side is, if people use these as like a gateway into lifestyle change, like I can get behind that. But it seems like, you start to use it as as the crutch. Well, and you're never going to get off it. Then you're not really changing or altering your lifestyle. Yeah. I think the long-term, I mean, who am I to, I don't know, but I'm just saying
JFDI.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's like, if you're not going to,
it's not medical advice, by the way.
Yeah.
We're going to get sued. No, I think, these are incredible drugs. I think you see in some people, I saw some data point where like 3,000 people are suing. What was it? One of the first ones that came out. But you think millions of people have this. Like, of course, 3,000 people will have some issues.
Yeah.
But the long-term benefits, if it can take down cholesterol, it can take down fatty liver, it can take down diabetes. Like, you'll die from those eventually too. So it's kind of one or the other.
When you look at like the elderly, and how quickly their health declines as soon as they like really become like, they bust a hip or a knee or something and really become immobile, like their health goes, like it just deteriorates so fast. Where if like it's kind of the same thing, I feel like if people can really use and lean this in it kind of, again, as a gateway to kind of alter their lifestyle, I think, I don't know. Yeah.
I can see the government maybe subsidizing some of this too. I mean, think about how much money goes into helping people with diabetes and even insurance companies too, right? Like,
I feel like they just came out with something that they were like steroid and TRT and stuff. Aren't they starting to introduce that into the military? I could have saw a headline. Oh yeah, testosterone.
Yeah, they want to make easier access to testosterone. Like you can get annual testing to see what your levels are, and then get testosterone prescribed.
I should. If I was out there, yeah.
Feed me this. Let me try this. This is the results as I was talking about. 95% lowered. LDL down almost 19%, almost 20%. Average of 85 pounds lost. I need to get on this. Talking about this. This is made for me. Interesting. I didn't even know about this. I don't know if you guys can see this piece, but
yeah,
70% reduction in WOMAC pain. No idea what that means, but that sounds good. OSA, almost over 60% reduction. Yeah, gastro. That's what I was saying. So stomach, but I think when people are like using the smaller doses, there's not nearly as many issues. I don't own Eli Lilly. I need to, but it feels like it's just been running like crazy. So like I could see it going up another 30-40%, but I don't know. That's purely just speculation. Anyways, what else? What else is on your guys' minds? We can wrap this up here, but anything major we didn't touch on? Any stocks up your sleeve, Joey, that you're hiding from the masses that we can give?
No, the one I was really eyeing right now was Zscaler, just because looking at the massive run across cyber and that its valuation was still so attractive. Palantir was fun. I remember, I don't know if we talked about it in this show. I think it was in our text, but like unloading a lot of Axon in the 600s to put into Palantir 126 and change. That worked out very well. Axon's still ripping, but now it's back to the level where the trimming was going on. It's just the valuation went from attractive to, again, overvalued. So, and then again, this is where I started just selling a lot of stocks and then just parking it in the VU, where it's like I always stay fully invested and I want to park it there for safety unless something is like screaming my name. So like Zscaler is good, not as good as in the 130s. So like it might be a smaller position, but this market, you know, it's run so much and there's not many great names trading at inexpensive valuations now that it's almost like you're dumpster diving if you chase a lot of these. So if we spot anything great, yeah, I'd love to pile in, but I just don't see much.
I think Palantir is your one right now.
Yeah. Go back to that chart real quick. It had a nice little bump last week, but it's been basing for a while here.
Yeah. Again, kind of, you missed them. Let's just, you missed the move off of the low of the range, say 130s. It's tough to really think that, price pushes up to 200, that it's going to bust through right away. It's going to give you plenty of hope. I shouldn't, there's no guarantees, but this thing does want to continue. I think that you'll get another opportunity between, like, let's say 200 and a pullback to, like, let's say 160, or even it kind of chops sideways here. Back to those kind of tight closes. It's kind of what you're seeing here and kind of saw at the bottom of this base. You had a 4-week tight here, bunch of tight closes here, a lot of tight closes here, and then we got the pop and the push. But again, like the long-term moving averages, it takes a lot to get these things to curl up and start to pull up. And in that, they kind of act as like a, sort of an ankle weight. I'd call them, at least until you kind of get them pulling up and trending upwards again.
The last two that are still, I guess, significantly off their highs that I do like are Robinhood and Oracle. Oracle, yeah, everybody's talking about the debt load and all that stuff. The problem is, like, Oracle's friends with all the right people in the government. They just got that other big deal. Not big deal. It's big in dollar terms, but not as opposed to how big the company is. But both of those, I mean, Oracle, it's what, 151 down from 3 something and trading at a teens multiple of earnings.
We're at a kind of an inflection point here. Like, again, kind of going back to talking to the market as a whole being in an uptrend, from a zoomed out perspective, you could argue that this was somewhat of a head and shoulders looking pattern, and it had kind of this channel built out. Price failed up here, came all the way back, undercut, and now we're reclaiming this kind of trend line. How popular and how well these undercut and rally trades have worked over the last several years. Like, I certainly would not be in the camp that this thing fails and rolls over. What I think would be more likely to happen is, like, you kind of get this push here and then let price consolidate here. I agree with you. I think Oracle looks great. I think a lot of these names within the NAS all look freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, my plan with this one was loading 130s and then let this get back towards like the 200 level. That's when it'd be trading at a more reasonable multiple, and then start trimming that off and either find something that hadn't run, like say Robinhood's still at 94, perfect world when that happens, or trim it, keep some, roll that thing to VU until I can wait and find something else. But I keep mentioning like rolling it to VU, but like I've done that with a good portion as I'm looking for something else, and that VU position's up 2.53%. So like You don't have to just throw this stuff in cash. Like, oh crap, where am I going to put it? Just park it somewhere that could maintain some upside, limit your downside, and keep looking. If you can't find anything, just keep it there.
Mm-hmm. What about WNBA JFDI? Check that one out.
WNBA, is that actually a ticker?
No, I was just joking because all this news. I'd buy stock in that thing. They're getting a bunch of Enos Cantor, Royce White. They're gonna all be
those guys are legends for finally saying, look, if you're not going to protect the sport, then we're going to exploit it and destroy you. And so now they're going to have to do it.
That'd be incredible.
It would be great. Or hey, just protect Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I think men should stay out of. But I like what they're doing because they're bringing it to light.
They're following the rules. The rules state they can play. Let them play.
Enos, I just saw. That's why I talked about it. Enos Cantor actually signed up for the draft for next year. So,
oh my god,
it's gonna be.
Now would the teams not draft him? I feel like the teams would have to make him go undrafted because one team that took him, they'd be winning.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Actually, the teams say they can't, but. Who's to say? Why can they? Certain people come.
Well, the other thing I saw is the minimum salary in the WNBA was like 600,000, and the G League for the men is like 40,000 or something tiny. So if you're any dude in there and you can qualify for the WNBA and go make 600 grand, like say you're not good enough for the NBA, have at it. All right, boys,
minimum 270K. All right, this is probably a good time to drop before we get ourselves in trouble here. We will be back here tomorrow. Joey's got to hop off, so we'll mute him real quick. But tomorrow we have Caleb coming on. We're going to continue to talk through Amazon. Who else we got coming on tomorrow? We got Kyle. I got to see if he's coming on. We got a good show tomorrow. And then, of course, KT, who is in the MetaTrade. And our thing is all messed up now with Joey gone. But JFDI, appreciate you coming on, man. Let's have a good trading week.
Because we pop them like over and vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire.